The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but we're the ones who have inspired you all along to like and share them on social media and with all your friends and neighbors, because if it's happening on the Treasure Coast, you'll hear about it on the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. In fact, here she is right now, the host of our show, Sue Ellen Sanders.
Welcome to the show, and I'm really thrilled to have with me today a couple gentlemen from Pineapple Playhouse. They're both longtime volunteers of St. Lucie Community Theater, which is the organization that is in charge of the building is Pineapple Playhouse. So when you go to the shows for the more than 50-year-old community theater, you're actually going to the shows that are produced by St. Lucie Community Theater. And Alex Yahn is with me now. He is president of the organization, which is a volunteer position. So he is working hard, but he's also a veteran actor with Pineapple Playhouse. And as a matter of fact, the last time we were talking a little bit about our history, it was maybe 10 years ago that Alex and I were on stage together in a show called, help me with this, Outlaws and In-Laws and In-Laws and Outlaws and something else.
And other people that need to be shot. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Was that 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was.
I just wanted to correct one thing you said. I'm not president. Thank God. I have been president several times.
Sorry.
So you probably assumed I was still the president because I've been president there multiple times. So it's a fair mistake.
Yeah. They just recently had elections, though, correct?
They did. That's exactly right. We did. Okay. Joseph Long is our president. He was unable to make it today, so I filled in.
Well, I'm happy that we got you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, because you and I can talk. We'll talk a little bit, of course, of the history of the Pineapple Playhouse and also the services it offers the community, but how volunteers can get involved and how people, whether they have any performing or background talent at all, can get involved and get on stage or work behind the scenes for the Pineapple Playhouse. So first of all, if you're not sure what the Pineapple Playhouse is, Alex is going to give us just a little bit of history. It was formed by a group of community volunteers just over 50 years ago, right?
That's exactly right. In fact, they just celebrated the 50-year anniversary last season.
Wow.
So it's been around a long time. I mean, this is a group of people that kind of got together and wanted to perform. And so they would use, I think at the time they were using like classrooms that weren't being used, or, basically garages, anywhere they could get together to perform is where they did that, and somehow got the theater where it is now. It used to be a church over on Weatherby Road. And they acquired that property, and they were off and running, and we've been producing and directing and hosting and quality community theater since. I always tell everybody the shows there are phenomenal. They really are. I don't think I've seen a bad show there.
The shows are great, but also with 50 years of history, a lot of the people who live and work in St. Lucie County, they have grown up with Pineapple Playhouse. Many of them may have attended the kids programs there, or volunteered there, or been at different stages of their life there. And I'm one of them. I mean, because I have done some community theater too, and I was the nosy neighbor in the show that Alex and I did together, which was kind of typecast, maybe a little bit. But but both of my children, both were raised doing the Pineapple Playhouse children's programs back in the day of Miss Beth, which was 20 years ago. And since then you have a lot of different children's programs, and you also include children in a lot of productions that you do that are main stage adult productions as well.
That's right. That's right. We think that's very important because there is an incredible amount of talent in our youth. IRSC does a great program, and Lincoln Park Academy, they have great performing arts departments. And so we try to capitalize on that. I mean, my kids included. Sue Ellen, Jake, I know, went through the camp. My kids went through the camp. My daughter's already starred in it. She starred in a main stage production last season. And she's going to be in one this season as well. So we're always using local talent and local youth. We prefer that.
There's Emily.
Yeah, there's my wife here.
Hi.
Hi. We're on the radio then.
But we're doing a video with it as well. The thing about having people involved in the program is I had both sides of it. I had Jake and Chloe, and they both did the Pineapple Playhouse for a summer camp program. And with Jake, it completely took. He loved it and he stayed with it. And even now, it's something that he does on the side as a 30-year-old. It's hard to grasp. But my daughter learned a lot of stuff from it too. It's not something that she ever really wanted to do. But she enjoyed it for the fun of it, and she enjoyed the camaraderie and being part of a team, and being able to learn from one thing, from being on stage and helping with schools and speeches and so forth, to also being behind the scenes and helping produce the set and the costumes and everything. And I think that that's kind of like a microcosm of what you see every day at Pineapple Playhouse, because you see people who are hell-bent on being the person on stage, the main person, the one that everybody is clapping for. And then you have the people who are just kind of doing it as a side hobby.
Absolutely. You brought up a couple of good points. There's the people that want to be on stage and want to do all that. And I love that. I mean, I'm one of those myself. But then you have the people that are behind the stage, the producers, the directors, the stage managers, the tech people, the concessions people, the ushers. Those are really, to me, the unsung heroes of the theater. I mean, without those people, we would not have a production. And so we always try to make a point in recognizing those people. They're just as important as the people you see on stage, as you know. And so we're always looking for, people to volunteer. In fact, we recently had a volunteer picnic a couple of weeks ago that was, I couldn't believe how successful it was. A lot of people are just wanting to get out and do stuff and be active and contribute. And it was very good to see. We had a very good turnout. And we just encourage that. If you have no experience at all in doing anything theatrical, if you've never picked up a saw, or we'll teach you all that. We'll show you how to paint a set and build a set. Or if you want to get on stage and be an actor, come out and audition. It is a lot of fun. I think it's a great group of people. And you're going to be involved with something that is a terrific production. I guarantee it.
And it's a lot like producing something together, being a part of something bigger than yourself when you get together, whether you have a small role or you're behind the scenes or you're running lights or you're helping with the scenery, and then you have the run of the musical or the play, and you see people clapping for what you've created. And it's just such a community feeling, and giving back, that you are, even if you're sitting in the audience, you have created something that the community can be proud of. And the St. Lucie Community Theater it's something that everybody knows a little bit about, but if you've never been to the theater, it's large enough to have a big crowd when the theater is full, and still intimate enough that you can do an intimate story and have it come off very genuine.
Definitely. And that's a great point. And I love the intimacy of theater. That's one of the things that I really appreciated when I first walked in there, is that, I want to say we're 133 seats, but it is, you're the stage is right there. So you feel like you're part of the production. It's interesting, Sue Ellen, you probably wouldn't, I don't know when you were there last, but we have done a lot to the theater. The theater had gone through some negative changes, with COVID and with the hurricanes and everything else. We just didn't have any money. There was nobody going, and no one was coming to shows. We had to shut the theater down. We had no money to keep the place up. And we have turned it around to the point where we have really put a lot of money and work into the theater. It looks terrific. I mean, you probably wouldn't even recognize it now.
I went to a couple shows last season, and I went to see the one that's set in the beauty shop.
Oh yeah, the Steel Magnolias. Yeah.
Steel Magnolias. Yeah.
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 Okay, good. You saw it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I tried out for it too. But evidently I was like in between. I wasn't old enough to play old and crotchety, and I was too old to play young and not crotchety. And I couldn't do a Southern accent to forget.
I can't either. I'm with you. I can't do any accents.
Yeah. It's funny because it's interesting to see, when I talk about the community embracing the community theater, you do have some of the people that are the same people you see on stage because they have the extra time, or because it's their hobby, or because it's something that they love so much that they make it the most important thing in their lives. But you see them on stage each time, you may not recognize them. And I for example, somebody like Ellen Gillette, who over the past 30 years, she's a writer and a teacher in the community. And I've seen her play Nurse Ratchet in one show. And then she played the teacher in, boy, I'm losing it. What's the show about the blind girl?
Oh,
40 questions. Helen Keller. Helen Keller. Helen Keller's teacher. So they were very, very different parts and different ages of the characters. And so you might not recognize them. And, you were talking about your kids. I know your oldest, she was in a couple of the productions when she was like preteen, right? Was the first year she was in?
Oh yeah. Well, all my kids have done the summer camps there. That's where they kind of started it. And honestly, we were kind of just looking for something for them to do over the summer. We didn't want them hanging around the house. And I was affiliated with the theater at that point in some capacity. And I said, hey, why don't we send them all to Pineapple? And, at least they're there all day. And Sue Ellen, I swear, when I went to see, because at the end of the summer camp, they do, I think it's like 2 or 3 shows to show you, what they did and what they've been working on. I could not believe I couldn't believe how good they were. I was shocked. So honestly, I think any 3 of my kids could get on stage and do it again. But my middle kid, Gabby, is the one who's really into theater. She's the one who wants headshots and wants an agent and all this other BS. I told her she got to slow down. You got to get your feet wet first. So
Yeah. Well, we're being joined by Jack and Jack Krantz. Actually, uh, he was part of the same show that Alex and I had done like 10 years ago. So, and he's also producer or director. Is it director of the
Director.
upcoming show? Jack, we've been talking to Alex about, how the Pineapple Playhouse is really a community involvement where people, um, they might send their kids there over the summer, and over the last 50 years, different generations of families have, either had their hobbies or tried something new or honed their talents at the Pineapple Playhouse. And you're entering your 51st season now, or you entered already. And we're going to talk a little bit about the shows that are coming up. Jack, you've been on stage, you've been a director, you've been involved with the board, you've been a volunteer, you've done everything from bring food for a halftime buffet, to or picnics, volunteer picnics. Jack, Alex was just talking about, and you're directing this show coming up that's starting next weekend,
The 20th.
Yeah, the 20th, which will be, since this radio show is going to run Saturday and Sunday.
So yes, next weekend.
Yeah, the following weekend. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. I think I've done just about everything at the theater. I've worn a lot of hats there.
How did you get started?
Well, actually, I have a very good friend of mine, Tony Farino, to thank for that. He was doing a show there with John Persino, Arsenic and Old Lace. And he suggested that I come down and audition, and I guess I just never left from there.
We can't get rid of the guy.
Yeah.
No, I'm like the bad penny, the proverbial bad penny. That's true.
So tell us, so you have been involved for like at least 20 years, right?
Well, no, it's I guess it's about 15 now.
Oh,
yeah, about 15 years.
Feels like
15, 20.
Yeah,
same difference.
But I'm talking to two longtime veterans right now, and Alex was talking about how you welcome new faces, whether they be for coming to tryouts or coming to volunteer. And you have right now, you're probably pulling your hair out. Well, maybe not, with the show right around the corner. Sorry.
No, the hair's long gone.
Yeah. But that last week before the show begins, it's Tech Week, and there's really all hands on deck. So tell me what is the show? It's starting next weekend. Tell us a little bit about the show itself.
Well, the show is called Alabama Story, and it's a very well written show that I just kind of fell in love with when I first read it. It really hits very close to my heart and it's a bit controversial, I have to admit, given the atmosphere of our world today. But what it deals with is a true story about a children's book, an innocent little children's book about two rabbits that get married. And the problem is that it's set in 1959 in Montgomery, Alabama, and one of the rabbits is black and one of the rabbits is white. So that didn't sit well with a lot of people in Alabama.
How timely could that show be, though?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the reasons why it just struck me that with everything that's going on in the world today, and in our country, it's ripped from the headlines. And the other thing that struck me is that it is a true story. And it's, true stories are so compelling because the truth you just can't make up. No matter how vivid your imagination is, the truth can just be so much more compelling. And that's the case here.
What's scary too is that this happened in 1959, which was 60 years ago. And, what's the expression about the importance of knowing history is so you don't repeat
We're not
it.
condemned to repeat it.
Repeat it, yes.
Yes, exactly.
And so I am like so excited about this show coming up. Is it a big cast?
It's a small cast. It's only 6 people. And 2 of the people are based on actual real life people. And that's the true part of the story. And that's the story between the state librarian for the state of Alabama and a state senator who go toe to toe over this book. He's a staunch segregationist. You have to realize that this is the era of Governor Patterson and Governor Wallace in Alabama. And she's a defender of books and a defender of all people being able to go into the public libraries and read whatever they want. The author also created a couple of fictional characters that really work very well to bring out the story also. It's the story of books, it's the story of book banning, but it's also a love story between 2 people that were ripped apart 20 years earlier. 2 young kids, 11, 12 years old. They were growing up in Alabama and they played together and were best of friends. However, one of them was white and one of them was black. And 1939 politics in Alabama, not very different from 59 or not very different from 99 or today.
Scarily, yes.
They were ripped apart and they meet up again 20 years later. So they have to kind of relive what happened to their friendship. It's
at the same time they're dealing with the story about the book banning.
Right. Well, they're 2 independent stories that are being told side by side.
Oh, I got you.
But the 2 stories overlap, and the author did such a marvelous job in doing that. I'm really, as I said, it's very well written, and the 2 stories overlapped to the point where some of the conversations between the senator and the librarian mirror the conversations between Lily and Joshua. These two young people that are just trying to deal with what the status that life has dealt them. She comes from a very privileged white society, and his family, his mother and his mother was a cook and housekeeper for the family. So yeah, it's a matter of, well, it's a matter of realizing that these prejudices go much deeper than just a book or just a park bench. They really hit home and they affect people's lives very deeply.
When you signed up to direct this particular show, did you were you familiar with the show already? Did you realize how thought-provoking that it would be, and that it would be a timely and sensitive subject?
Well, yeah, as soon as I read it, I'm one of the other hats that I wear at the Pineapple Playhouse is I'm on the play reading committee also. So we read plays throughout the year and bring them forward to say, well, we think that these would be good choices for our season, and then the board picks from those. So as soon as I read this, yes, I felt it was important to tell this story, and I really kind of pushed for the board to accept this and put it on. In the back of my mind, when I read it, I already had a desire to direct it.
To direct it. I have to admit that there was a time where I didn't understand that entertainment, especially on stage, wasn't always funny. Because when I was younger, that the type of shows that I would see would be funny, ha type shows. And then seeing a show like this is not like come into the theater and expect to laugh until you cry. This is come into the theater and look at life and see how people turn that into change. And it's a whole different type of entertainment. It's not like entertainment, happy entertainment. It's entertainment, wonder entertainment. So
I agree. Entertainment in the theater, actually, in my view, is a lot like just a library full of books, and you get to choose and pick and choose. And some of the books and some of the shows that you see are thought provoking, and they question you. Hopefully, they all entertain, but sometimes it's a matter of appealing to the soul rather than the funny bone or the
yeah,
mind.
yeah. So the show starts on the 20th. Is that correct? Is that a Friday night or?
Yes, that's correct. Friday night. We run shows Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday nights are a 7 o'clock show, and then Saturday and Sunday are matinees at 2 o'clock.
Okay. And people can purchase tickets can they go online, or do they have to call the Pineapple Playhouse?
No, they can purchase them online.
Okay.
They can also buy them at the door. But yeah, actually, hopefully the ticket sales are doing pretty good. From what I hear, yeah, we've already had a good number of tickets sold, so it's probably best to get them online and be
That way
sure to
you
get
can
a
pick
seat.
your seats. Yeah.
Yeah, you can choose your seats.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. How many weekends will this show run?
It'll be 3 weekends.
So for 3 weekends, starting on the 20th. And you could purchase your tickets now by going online. You can also purchase tickets for a group. I know that I've been part of a group before that's gone to one of the Pineapple Playhouse productions, and that's a lot of fun to do too. And then go out to dinner or for drinks afterwards and talk about what you've seen as well. So let's talk a little bit about the rest of the season. Alex, you said you were familiar with what else is going on for the 2023-2024 season. And this is just one of the exciting and thought-provoking shows that's coming up, the next one.
Yes. Well, and let me say, by the way, Jack is very good at introducing some of these more thought-provoking plays. He did another one last season too that I actually was lucky enough to be in the Heat of the Night, which is considered a pretty, controversial show. And we like that. We kind of like,
pushing the limits,
being on the edge and pushing the
Yeah.
limit a little bit,
Yeah.
But last season we did 5 shows. This season we're doing 6 main stage productions, and then we kind of like sprinkle in some stuff in between all of that. So the next show we started with 4 Old Broads, our season opener, 4 Old Broads, which was phenomenal. Great turnout. I think we broke all kinds of records with attendance and everything with that. We have Jack's coming up, and then we have the best Christmas pageant ever. So that'll be a nice little holiday themed show that opens December 1st. And it's about a family of mischievous kids who decide they want to join the annual Christmas pageant and be in that, and just all the stuff that happens in there. So that opens December 1st. It runs to the 17th.
Do you already have that one cast?
Yes, that's cast already. I take that back. They're still looking for some kids for that show.
Yeah. Okay.
So if anybody in the audience has some kids, there's going to be another audition date. And you can just check our website. It'll be on that.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's a great point. No, that's not fully cast. And then after that, we do Play On. And that opens in January 12th, runs to the 28th. And that's a cool show because it's about a theater group. It's almost like a community theater group and them putting on a show and just all the craziness and, stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So people will get to see, the production of a community theater show.
That's a show within a show.
Yeah. It's funny. So that's in January 12th. And then Crimes of the Heart is a Pulitzer Prize winning play. That opens February 23rd, runs to March 10th. And that is like a comedy and like a tragedy combined. And it's about 3 sisters and just their whole stories and their intermingling of their stories. It's about forgiveness and sisterhood and resilience and that.
And family dynamics.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember seeing that one before, and you're right. It's like one minute you're laughing and the next minute you get tears in your eyes from crying. And that one you're going to have auditions coming up, before the casting too, and you can check that out all online. Do you have audition information yet online?
Absolutely, yeah. We put everything on there, so we'll put the cast list, and then we'll even usually put a description of each cast member on there. We'll put the age demographic, and we're not too picky on that, but we'll put that on there too. So you'll get a detailed description of exactly what's going on with the audition, when, where, and then character descriptions as well. And that's all on our website. And then we're doing, let me check my cheat sheet here. We have Crimes of the Heart, which opens February 23rd, and that runs to March 10th. Oh no, that's what I just talked about, didn't I?
Yes.
We're gonna have to edit that one.
That was the laugh and crying one.
Okay. Exit Laughing opens April 12th and runs to April 28th. And that's another one about 3 ladies. And that's a comedy, another comedy, and that's about these 3 ladies and what they do when they're card players, bridge players, and their 4th card player dies, and they want to have this game. So it's about what they do to go about having this game. It's hysterical. We did that a couple years ago. In fact, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we did that one. It was very successful.
I'd say it was probably closer to 5.
You're better with that than me.
We all just simply lose that year of the of the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah, yes.
You do
Yeah.
occasionally repeat shows, especially shows that have been popular. But when you take the same show and you recast it with different actors and actresses, it's a whole different ball game.
Right.
So it's a
absolutely.
lot of fun. Yes. Um, let's talk a little bit about your website too, because we're referring to it. You know, you can go there, you can find the link to get tickets there. It'll connect you to a ticket website, but you can also get information about the different shows, the timeline of the shows, the auditions for the shows, a little bit about the characters in the shows. And you know, if you see a part you're interested in, or just a show you're interested in, and you want to come to the tryouts or come and volunteer, Alex, I know you touched upon, you know, the people that are behind the scenes, and that is such a great way to get your feet wet in the theater world if you're not sure if you want to be on stage or not, you know, to come and volunteer. Jack, with your show, do you still need any volunteer ushers or people like prop people behind the scenes? Are there still any props that you're trying to get?
Well, actually, I'm in pretty good shape. In fact, that's just where I was this morning. Was at the theater working on the set, and the uh, the set's coming along fine. But that's absolutely true. We're always in need of people to help out, whether it's just simply, you know, helping out with some painting or some carpentry work, or you know, I ended up for this show, I ended up making some of my furniture, you know, because it's kind of difficult to just go out to restore and pick up an old card catalog from a library.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure that there's probably some people out there listening that are saying, "What's a card catalog?"
I was just thinking that, you know, kids
Um,
today, they just don't know how lucky they are.
Yeah.
that's true.
Um, but you know,
But yeah, actually, there are some people that I could use. Um, I'm still looking for a few people to help behind the scenes
okay.
during the run of the show, help with, you know, setting up props and being sure that the actors are in their proper place. You know, someone to
Awesome. And the only thing you need to be able to do that is follow directions.
yeah, follow directions and, you know, crack the whip on the actors. They need it sometimes.
Yeah, they do. They do.
The other thing I would mention too, Sue Ellen, is that if you go on the website, I thought there was a spot on there that if you want to volunteer, there's a volunteer sign up on there too. So if you go to the pineappleplayhouse.com, there's a support tab, and then under support, you'll see volunteer sign up, and then you can put your name and number and contact info in there, and anything you're interested in doing, and one of our board members will reach out to you and get you going. So that's another easy way to do that.
But the nice thing about the website is front and center. When you get to the website, you have the buy tickets tab. So that's not hidden at all. And then you've got the entire season in front of you. The get in touch is toward the bottom of the website, that you were saying that's the way, if you want to volunteer, that's how you can volunteer. And of course, if you don't know where Pineapple Playhouse is, it's just off Weatherby Road between US 1 and Oleander. So Fort Pierce, right kind of in the center, just a jog off Midway Road. So midway in the county. And it's something that, you know, we talked about at the beginning. how important it feels to be part of something bigger than yourselves, and to give back to the community. But the same thing with coming to one of the shows, you feel like, you might go to one of the shows and your hairdresser is there up on stage, or your real estate guy is on stage, and it's fun to see them wearing different hats. And it's also an equalizing thing too. What I found was that all of those people from different walks of life, when they were all part of a cast, they all came together in that cast, and that was the important thing in their life, is that show. That's the season for 2023-24 that's coming up. And back to Jack's show that hits the stage. You're moving in this week. You're going to be doing your tech rehearsals.
That's correct.
And that's an exciting time for you, because you get to see what it's going to be like with everybody dressed for stage, and with a pretend audience. And then you move into a situation where you have the family and friends production, where you have your fake audience for you, and then you're on stage. And then it's like, they say, sometimes people say the first weekend of a show is the most exciting, because everybody is kind of finding their spot, the place that they're most comfortable, and getting the dynamics right. And but some people say the second weekend is fun as well, because then they've already figured everything out. They're really gelling. And then by the third weekend, they've got it. There's never a drop line. It's interesting and exciting, because it's live theater, and you never know what's going to happen with live theater.
That's absolutely true. You start to see things all coming together. With the light, because during rehearsals, a lot of times you're just picking bits and pieces and doing scenes to concentrate on certain work. But now, as the whole show is being run, and all of a sudden the lights come in, and all of the props are there, and the sound and the costumes, it really makes it come alive. You're right that the dropped lines and things like that may happen. Well, of course, the audience doesn't know.
No, they never know.
They don't have a script in front of them, but it can be a little nerve-wracking for the actors, because it's like, oh my God, what and they come off just beating themselves up sometimes. But the thing is that it just works out smoothly, because by that time, we were all working together, and we all know the story so well that we get to cover, and we get to be able to pick up if someone misses something, or you get a little creative, but again, it gets all back to community.
I can remember one show, Alex, that with the in-laws and the outlaws, that we skipped like a whole scene in, but nobody in the audience knew it. But everybody was working off cues, and when those cues were gone, we're like, okay, let's forget that. And the audience never knows, because, like you said, Jack, the story, where you've got to get to. And sometimes the ad-libbed lines are the best part of the show.
Oh, absolutely.
I think I laughed every night of that show. It was something new. Like Tony Farino would just do something new every night, or I mean, I was constantly laughing. and eating.
Yeah, and I think I put on 5 pounds with that show too.
Yeah, exactly.
And you talk about props and depending on the show that you're bringing to the stage, the show that we did, the one big part was the Thanksgiving dinner scene, and we had to just keep doing that each time, and so we had to learn to talk around eating, and so there was real food. We didn't have fake food. We had real food. But I know in the past there's been props that there could be like live animals, dogs as part of props, or kids. You never know what kids are going to say.
I was in a show with a
true.
chicken once. I had a chicken in one of my shows that I did.
That's right.
I've seen it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up things for us, the show, Alex, as far as the season, the next show that's coming up, the Christmas pageant show, you're still looking for some kids, and
Yes.
And those, they can reach out. You've got a very active social media presence too, so you could reach out through either messaging through social media or through the Pineapple Playhouse information, or give them a call and leave a message if there's not a person that is answering.
Absolutely.
And Jack, your show hits the stage on the 20th. You still could use a few volunteers for props, moving stuff around behind the scenes, but your cast is ready and excited to take the stage. Are they veterans or newbies or a combination of both?
He's got
Actually,
a
a
good
combination.
cast. He's got a good cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chemistry between some of the people is just when I cast them when I was in rehearsals or auditions, excuse me. Yeah, the chemistry that I saw was really, really good. You just can't make that kind of stuff up. So a couple people that this is only their second show. And then a couple people that have a number of shows under their belt, and they're old pros.
And of course, you never know when you're casting how much potential that person will grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you've got to cast for an eye of what they're bringing that night and their dynamics with the other people, and what you can expect once they learn the lines. And then, sometimes just learning the lines might be a problem for people. And there's all sorts of different tricks that the people that are veterans, tell the newbies what to do. But it's exciting, a fun thing to be a part of, Pineapple Playhouse. And if it's early stages now for planning for summer vacation, but if you're interested in the kids program, you can probably send the word out to just get on a mailing list. You do have social media, Pineapple Playhouse. Is there a newsletter or some type of information that goes out on a regular basis too?
Oh yeah, like you said, we're constantly updating Facebook. Daily. And the website is constantly updated. We send out mass emails as well. So if you're on the mailing list, you'll be getting an email. There's one more thing I forgot to mention, Sue Ellen. In November, we are having the Pineapple Playhouse one-act showcase, which is quite interesting in that we found out that, this is last season, we found out that there's a lot of playwrights in the community, in the Treasure Coast area. And we capitalized on that. So we created a little contest, if you will. And we probably got 12, 14 submissions for plays. And then we had a contest and we chose Out of those 12, we chose 4, and then we judged the 4. So this next month is the Pineapple Playhouse One Act Showcase. So the winner of that contest is going to be showing their play. It's called Little Mama's Restaurante. And then there's another one act play with it called That's Amore. And they're both restaurant themed, both Italian restaurant themed. So we're going to kind of make like a little Italian night out of it. We're going to have like, you know, cannolis or whatever at the snack bar. And so that's coming up on November 12th. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that.
That's so cool.
Yes,
So
that'll be
if
fun.
you're somebody who's a potential playwright, you can be looking at for next year. Are you going to do it again next year?
Yep. In fact, we're doing it again this year. You can submit plays right now.
Okay.
So submit your play. There's information all on the website about that. There's information on Facebook. And then we're going to have another one of those one act play festivals where we'll judge. So I definitely recommend submitting your play. If you're a playwright, submit it. We'd love to see it.
So that is so wonderful to be able to offer an opportunity, not just to people who want to be on stage or behind the stage, but also who want to write for the stage to get started with that. You can submit that information now. You can, you know, the first thing you should do after listening to the show is to go on the website and look up the season and see what tickets you're interested in purchasing for which shows. Start off with the Jack show coming up, the Alabama story.
Story, yes.
Or yeah. Then just pick your shows from there. Keep in mind, this is an awesome idea for a Christmas present for you. If you want to get future shows and you know, tickets for shows, or you can just do a little IOU and put them in your family member or your friend's stocking. And you can also follow and like on Facebook and Instagram, Pineapple Playhouse. Look for the St. Lucie Community Theater logo on it. Jack Krantz and Alex Yahn have been my guests today, and they are both volunteers with the St. Lucie Community Theater, which is Pineapple Playhouse. Jack's directing the show that starts next weekend, so check out the website for more. You've been listening to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. I'm here every week with more. Thanks for joining me.
The Sue Ellen Sanders Show, weekend mornings at 7:05 on WPSL Port St. Lucie. It's one of the many reasons why we're the talk of the Treasure Coast. There are also archives on YouTube. Go to WPSLTV.com.